Hey, thanks for tuning in to Rhino's Resto Mod. So today we're going to continue the teardown on the 56 265 V8 that I picked up on. One thing I wanted to do is clear some stuff up from the last video. I realized there was a few things in the last video that I didn't explain, and I kind of went ahead. So I'm going to turn the camera around now and explain some of. I was asked again, one, what was it that kept the motor from rotating around? Because I showed a stuck valve, and then I actually did like a viewer said and put a couple actually screwdrivers underneath of it and was able to pop it up. And that was on cylinder number, let me see here, 1, 3, 5, 7, on cylinder 2. And so I'll show you why that wasn't the problem. So when I was doing that, so we are in a different garage today. It's, in the teens here in Ohio. It's December 14th. So when I was rotating that motor around, one thing I wanted to explain as far as when I was rotating it and it kept stopping going in both directions, it was stopping in this position, but this was the cylinder had the valve stuck down. So you can see, that valve, there's no way that it would have been sticking down that far to stop that piston from coming to top dead center. But anybody who's familiar with, a small block Chevy, obviously, is on this side is 2, 4, 6, and 8. Well, 4 was up here at top dead center, but then also on the other side, right, you have cylinders 1, 3, 5, and 7. 7 is also at top dead center. So I know I've watched a few videos where there's some confusion on putting distributors in, and they talk about, making sure it's on top dead center, but that's important that it's on the compression stroke, right? So you have an intake and then compression, then that's when it fires. So as this one is on the compression stroke at top dead center, right? This cylinder over here, number 4, would be at top dead center, but on the exhaust stroke. So that's where if you get it 180 out, right, it's just firing the one that's on the exhaust stroke versus the one that is on the compression stroke. So, so back to the video, the first video I had, I looked inside that cylinder and I seen it was mucky, but when I looked inside this cylinder over here, if you go back and watch the video, I can put a little clip. It looked like there was something stuck in that cylinder, standing on end. I'm going to guess that it was probably some carbon buildup that I seen in there. But what actually happened after I pulled this head off on this side, it still didn't rotate. So without it rotating, that's when we came over here, and I was just using a push rod, stick it in the cylinder and find out that 4 is also at top dead center. So this is where I messed up in the last video. Was I pulled the head off and this cylinder was full of muck. So it's probably one of the worst ones. And I'm just calling it muck. I've had several viewers talk about what it might have been. But at this point, it just looked like dirt, right? And then I had been spraying PB Blaster in the cylinders. But actually, this cylinder was up high enough and there was enough junk in there that it wouldn't allow the cylinder to come all the way to top dead center. And be able to return down. Now, that's where I messed up in the last video, was after I did that and I tried to clean some of these cylinders out, was I never went back and rotated the motor all the way around. So I did actually rotate it all the way around, but I never put it in the video. So I apologize for that, not putting that in the video, but it did rotate all the way around. So I was thinking about doing that today to show you to start with, but honestly, what I've been trying to do is, anytime I move the motor, I'm going through and wiping out all the cylinders because I don't want any of that grit and grime that's already in there to score the cylinder walls any more than they may have already. They look really good. There's a little, if you want to call it, what do you want to say? There's not a ring, but obviously where the ring lands don't go to the top of the bore. There's just a little bit of roughness, but there's no ridge there. So I'm hoping that will, clear things up. And then also there was a question about 56. I don't think 55 from when I went and looked, and somebody could comment if I'm right. 56, I think, is the first year they started with the oil filter canister. So it's got a filter inside of it. And 55, I believe somebody's right, that those had the remote oil filter that would mount up in this general area on the intake. So I hope that clears everything up. I do apologize that I didn't have that in the last video. This motor will rotate all the way around. It rotates pretty smoothly, except for, like I said, I just don't want to drag any more dirt through those cylinders. So what I'm going to work on today is we're inspect that bottom end, because that was one of the things, somebody brought up. Well, maybe it's hung up on the bottom end. And like I said, I didn't show it. So I've loosened up some of these lifters. I won't bore you with me pulling each individual one out, but I'll show you how I go about getting them out and how easy they are coming out. So I assume there's not very much wear. I think it's just, a little bit of sludge and some buildup on those lifters that are keeping them a little tough coming out. So I'll tear off the front end here, pull the pulley, get the water pump out of the way. I'll get the lifters out, and then we'll come back and start tearing that bottom end apart. All right, we're back out here. So we got the water pump and the timing chain cover, and then I actually just went ahead and took off the two motor mounts on this, so you can see nothing horrible going on inside of here. It doesn't look like, the typical timing chain does have some wear to it and everything, but nothing sticks out as abnormal. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you what I do with getting lifters out, just in case I don't have my tool with me today that I normally use to pull lifters out. So what I was just going to show you is, so getting these lifters out, like I said, it's got some crud in here and stuff, but I try to hit them with some PB Blaster, right? Just to get them, loosened up. But instead of using pliers on them or anything as far as grabbing the edges of them, is I just use some of these little magnets. So if you got some of these little magnets and you're having a good day, right, you can put them on there and then just keep moving them back and forth. In this case, this one didn't come out yet, so hopefully like I said, I'm not going to bore you with watching me take out a set of lifters, but if you keep spraying them, right, get around the edge of it and keep working them back and forth, eventually, and that's the thing with this motor, is eventually they will come out. I've had two out already, but it's just wearing off some of that carbon, some of the crusty oil that's on here. So like I said, they're coming out. It's just a slow process. That one's about ready to come out. Let me tap it back in there. There we go. So that's pretty typical. And then, like I said, you can kind of see it's just the normal sludge. And then I'll inspect the bottoms of them a little better here in a minute. The only other thing that, I do, or I couldn't find, so some of my tools, since moving garages, are MIA. I used to have a tray to keep these in, but I checked out the dollar store. The dollar store has these handy dandy ice cube trays that actually for $1, you got 4 cylinders on this side, right? 8 lifters, so 2, 4, 6, 8. It's like they knew that we needed them. So I'm just gonna go through and put all my lifters in this tray, and that way I can keep them in order. So when I get this done, we'll take a look at them all together. All right, so we're back on this. So there was no problem getting any of the lifters out. I know you guys really can't see much, but in the bores, there was just some buildup, on the bottom of the lifter. So I went ahead and took the cam out too. Nothing's really showing up as any bid red flags as of now. So again, there's my ice cube tray but it doesn't matter which one you pick up. You can look at about any one of them, and they show a little bit of wear, but I don't see any that are, there's some, honestly, I cleaned 1 or 2 of these. I don't remember which one they were, but there was quite a bit of crud on the bottom. And then, like I say, a lot of, down around here, the bottom here. That's why they weren't just sliding right out. But the more I look, and I wipe the cam down just a little bit to try to look at it, and there's no lobes that are wiped on it for sure. I'll see if I can get some measurements and stuff, but there's a lobe on every place there should be one. So I'll have to get my dial indicator out, or not my dial indicators, but my micrometers out, and I'll see how much wear, which one's intakes and exhausts, see how closely they measure and stuff. But I think so far, it does look like a low mileage motor. I don't know. Somebody did comment too, I wanted to say, on this number here, that GE at the end, this was at a 56, but the GE stood for passenger car and not Corvette. So I don't know. Like I say, you get all the stories, but the only thing I'm really seeing so far is just it's dirty. And I don't think it was run when it was dirty. I think, even if you look, I cleaned it off, but it's just, it was in a barn next to a field, and maybe that's, what got in there. I don't know. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and I'll pull the pan off. I already drained the oil, but I'll see if there's anything else in the bottom there, and then we'll flip this over and start seeing what we got underneath. Okay, so now we got the oil pan off, and we'll take a look in it first. So it's pretty much what I was thinking was we were going to find down in there. It's not chunky, it's just sludge. So, I thought around for chunks and all that, and whether it's just the oil sat for so long and it got nasty. But so here's what the bottom end starting to look like. So it's not all rusty, which is a good thing. It does show some oil, or it could have been all that PB Blaster I'd been spraying in here. But I thought maybe we'd pull this off and it would be a big chunky rusty mess. And then again, the pickup, it's gooey. It's not metal, it's not crusty. So again, I don't know. I think it's a good thing, and we pulled this thing apart. That's all I got to say. Pulling, I don't think it was ever ran like this. I think however long it sat, the oil just sludged all up and got dirt or something in the cylinders, and then you know, or they put some type of oil in there. So I don't, seems like this thing's pretty well preserved. So what I'll start doing is I'll at least pull off I'm going to pull it all the way apart, but for you guys, I'll pull off a couple of these main caps and rod caps. Again, I'll go through and mark everything first, obviously. I'll go through and mark it all, and then I'll pull off a couple caps, and we can take a look at what we got to work with. But I don't know, tell me what you guys think. You know, I think a good cleaning is in order. And then, like I said, I'll start measuring some stuff and see how much wear it shows. But right now, I mean, I feel pretty confident that it's not going to be anything major. So we'll go from there. So let me start pulling some of this apart and then we'll take a look at it. All right, we're back out here. So I said I was getting ready to mark all these rods and caps and everything to make sure I get back in the right order. But I noticed this very first one, they're written in, let's see if I can, so see how that, they're sideways. Let's see how that's got a 1 on it already, top and bottom. And then I went to this side, same thing. So they're laying sideways, right? Looks like 22. And then, I can't see that one, but this one, right, has a 4. So I'm not sure, has this, you know, I was under the assumption that, again, it didn't come that way from the factory that way, that only if somebody rebuilt it would these be stamped. So this would be 55, 5, yeah. And then this one here, like I said, just showing you as I seen it, right? Wipe it off. 6. So, looks like, I don't know, you guys let me know. I don't know about anything this old. Like I say, 1956 motor. Did they stamp these when they were at the factory, or maybe this has been rebuilt? I did see, you know, looking at some of the skirts on the piston, like that one there, you can see that. I mean, there's really no wear. So, or I mean, it appears at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock a couple of these out. And I don't have any of my tools to measure here. So it's probably gonna be a trip to the other garage tomorrow. Maybe I'll add on this video, or it seems like it's getting kind of long. I have to bring my parts cleaner, my parts washer, and then I'll see if I can find some of those tools and take some measurements on this. So it'll either be a continuation on this, or I'll see how much time we got in this and maybe make another one when we're actually cleaning it up and doing the inspection and measuring things. So hopefully this isn't it for today, but if it is, thanks for watching. Please leave comments below on anything that you see that I may have missed, or anything that doesn't seem right to you. Or, you know, like I said, the stampings, I didn't think they were ever on there, but I could be wrong. So let me know. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. See you next time.